Hello everyone, welcome to Sulekha Physics classes. It is the most easiest way to learn all the concept of physics through this class. Hope you all are doing well, and today I am going to teach you about the next topic of diffraction part, that is diffraction at a single slit. But before starting this one, you must know about diffraction, which we already discussed in the previous video. What is diffraction? Actually, what happens? There is one property of light, that is light always travels in a straight line, and it is due to this property when anything comes in the path of light, any aperture, any obstacle, then it forms there is a illuminated region and geometrical shadow region on the screen due to this property. Okay, but again, there is one more interesting thing happens, that when the size of that obstacle or aperture is comparable to the size of wavelength of light used, then what happens? Bending of light takes place around the corners of the obstacle or aperture, and they are spreading into the region of geometrical shadow. This property of light is called diffraction. In the last class we discussed that suppose this is the aperture, and when light comes and passes through this aperture, then in this region light reaches. This region is called illuminated region, and in this region light does not reach. Okay, so this region is called geometrical shadow region. But if the size of this aperture is very small, if it is comparable to the size of the wavelength of light used, then in place of going straight, it just bends through some angle, right? Suppose this other different angles, bending of light takes place around the corners of this aperture, and this phenomena is called diffraction, right? The bending of light around the corners of the obstacles, and they spreading into the region of which shadow? Which region? Geometrical shadow region is called diffraction of light, and it takes place only when size of that aperture or obstacle is comparable to the size of wavelength of light used. Okay, so using this property, today I am going to discuss about diffraction at a single slit. What happens when light passes through a single slit, and what type of rings are formed on the screen, what is the position of that rings, bright or dark fringes are formed, what is the position of that bright or dark fringes, at what point from the center of the screen it is formed, what are different conditions when bright fringe is formed, when dark fringe is formed. We will discuss all these things in today's video. So let us start with this topic, diffraction at a single slit. Suppose this S is a monochromatic source of light of wavelength lambda. Let lambda is a wavelength of light used, right? Monochromatic source. And it is placed at the focus of this lens L1. So what happens? After passing through this lens, the rays becomes parallel, and these parallel rays means plane wave front. Okay, and this plane wave front is incident on this slit AB. AB is the slit with small a. Okay, slit width is small a. This slit width of the slit is small a. When the plane wave front is incident on this slit, narrow slit AB, what happens? It disturbs each part of this slit AB, right? And according to Huygens principles, what happened? Each point of the primary wavefront acts as a source of secondary wavelet. Okay, so here also each point of this slit AB, suppose this is slit AB, okay, and each point of this slit AB acts as a source of secondary wavelet, and it spreads in all possible directions in the same phase, and it causes diffraction, right? Suppose it creates disturbance, it goes like this one, this point also goes like this one, and at the point it superimpose and form diffraction pattern on the screen. And suppose this is a convex lens L2 and the diffraction pattern is focused by this convex lens at point P on the screen, right? So here there is not only one source of light, there are multiple sources of light which interfere and produces bright and dark fringes on the screen. In case of interface, there are two different sources, right? Two coherent sources and produces interference pattern on the screen. But here there is only one slit, right? But from this one slit there are multiple sources of light is formed which interfere and produces diffraction pattern on the screen. So diffraction pattern is little bit different from the interference pattern. In case of interference, maxima, minima, all maxima are of same intensity, but here we find that there is a central maxima and there are other secondary maxima whose intensity decreases as we move away from the center of the screen. There is a central maxima and then other secondary maxima is formed. So let us see how central maxima is formed at the center of the screen, then what is the position of other minima, then secondary maxima at different points on the screen. Let us discuss one by one. So first we'll discuss about central maxima, then minima, then secondary maxima, right? So first one is central maxima. To understand this one, let us consider the rays which are parallel to the direction of incident rays. All these rays, parallel rays, okay, which are going in the direction of incident light direction. All these parallel rays focused at point O on the screen. So now here you observe that the wavelets, suppose consider point A and consider point B, right? Okay. Wait. Okay, so here you observe that the wavelets from any two corresponding points of the two halves of this slit reaches the point O in the same phase. Same phase means they act constructively and produce maximum intensity at point O. Okay, let us understand this one with the help of one example. Suppose between A and B, this is A and this one is B, there are, suppose, 10 sources are there. Okay, this one is first, 2, in this way 10. So these two corresponding fronts, wavelets from the two parts of this slit reaches the point O in the same phase. Part difference is 0. Again next between 2 and next 9 corresponding points, then 3 and then here 8. So in this way 1, 10, these two are corresponding points, 2 and here 9, then 3, here 8, all these are corresponding points. Okay, 5 and then 6. So all these are corresponding points, and between all these corresponding points, the wavelets reaches point O in the same phase. So at the center of this screen there is maximum intensity, the maximum brightness is there. That's why there is central maxima is formed at point O of the screen. So you write simply in short in this way that the wavelets from any two corresponding points, right? Corresponding, what is important? Corresponding points of two halves of the slit reaches point O in the same phase, right? It means part difference is what? 0. So they add constructively and produce central maxima, right? Maxima at point O, right? So in this way you write 2 or 3 lines that the wavelets from the any two corresponding points of the two halves of the slit reaches point O in the same phase, hence path difference is 0, hence a central maxima is formed at point O of the screen. So there is always a central maxima in case of diffraction pattern. Now other maximas are called secondary maxima in this diffraction because their intensity is little bit in decreasing order, less than that of the central maxima. So after this central maxima, suppose central maxima is up to some distance, then after that first minima is formed, right? Now after central maxima, suppose here central maxima is formed, right? So up to this region central maxima is there, then after that first minima is formed. So what is the position of that first minima, first dark fringe? Let us discuss that one. Please take a screenshot of this one fast. So now position of minima. Minima, you can say dark fringe, right? So to calculate this one, let us first suppose that the wavelets at point A and B are diffracted at an angle theta and focused at point P on the screen. So what is the path difference between the wavelets from the points A and B? Because the line going from this point A and B and its focus at point P are not same. There is a path difference between the secondary wavelets at point A and point B. What is that path difference? To calculate that one, draw one perpendicular from A to this path BP at point N. So this becomes 90 degree. Now you observe that after this N and A, both paths are same. So path difference is how much? Only Bn. Now you have to calculate that path difference first. So what is the value of Bn? This angle is theta and this one is 90 degree. So this becomes 90 minus theta. And if this one is 90 minus theta, this one is 90. So you can easily find that this angle is how much? Theta. Now from this triangle ABN, you find that this BN is equal to how much? A sine theta. So you can write the path difference between wavelets from which point? A and B is how much? Delta x equal to, this is Bn and this is equal to, you get A sine theta. This is the path difference between the wavelets from points A and B. Now you have to find the position of first minima. So first let us assume that the first minima occurs when the path difference between the wavelets at point A and B is lambda. Okay, and then we prove that one, how when the path difference is lambda, then first minima occurs. Okay, so you write first dark fringe occurs at a point where path difference is lambda. Just consider it, okay? so you can write that this part difference A sine theta equal to lambda, and this is the condition of first minima or first dark fringe. Now how you can say that this is the condition of first minima? Because this part difference is lambda. In case of interference, this is the condition of maximum intensity, maxima, but here opposite to that of interference pattern. Here when part difference is lambda, A sine theta equal to lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, we can say that that is the position of minima or dark fringes. How? Let us prove that one. To prove this one, let us again suppose that there are 12 number of slits or 10 number of slits between points A and B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Right? Now, this is the point P on the screen, and part difference between these two waves is what? Lambda. Okay. Now divide the slit into two equal halves. This one. So at this point, suppose C, here first fringe, here is 10 fringe, and at center there are suppose 5th fringe. Right? Now you find that the part difference between these two points, these two corresponding points A and C, between A and B, part difference is lambda. So between A and C, part difference is how much? Between A and C, part difference is lambda by 2. It means suppose here is first and here is 5th. So first and 5th, this wavelets, part difference is lambda by 2. Then again 2nd and 6th, part difference is lambda by 2. Again 3rd and 7th, part difference is lambda by 2. Again 4 and 8, part difference is lambda by 2. In this way, you find that the part difference, when you divide the slit into two equal parts, the part difference between the two corresponding halves of the 2 points is lambda by 2, and this is the case of destructive interference. It means they cancel each other and net intensity at this point is 0. So in this way, you can say that this A sine theta equal to lambda is the condition for first dark fringe. Again, A sine theta equal to 2 lambda. Now, at this point, second dark fringe is formed. It means between A and B, part difference is 2 lambda, and you divide the slit into 4 equal parts, right? Here 2 equal parts, and now next time 4 equal parts, right? So between any between any one part difference is how much? Again this and this, suppose 1 and this one is suppose 3rd, part difference is how much? Lambda by 2. Then again 2nd and 4th, part difference is, in this way first 2 parts cancel each other. Again in the second 2 parts, part difference between 5th and suppose this one is 7th, 6th and 8th. Okay, in this way these two also cancel each other, and hence net intensity at point P is minimum or 0. So with that you can explain in this way, or otherwise you just learn this one, that the condition for minima is A sine theta equal to, you can write n lambda, where n is 1, 2, 3, like this one. When n is 1, first dark fringe, n is 2, second dark fringe. In this way, different dark fringes are formed, right? Again, if this angle theta is very, very small, then sine theta tends to theta, and you can write this A theta equal to n lambda, or you can write that from where I write, okay, at this point A theta equal to n lambda, and this theta equal to n lambda by A, and this is what? This is actually angular position of minima, angular position, right? So you just remember this one, A sine theta equal to L lambda. This is the position of minima, and this theta equal to N lambda by A. This is the angular position of minima, right? Okay. Now after this minima, first minima, second minima, then secondary maxima is formed. So let us discuss that one. Take a screenshot of this one fast. Okay. Now next is position of secondary maxima. Okay. Position of secondary maxima, not maxima. Just must remember this one, okay? There is a central maxima and then other maximas are called secondary maxima. So first secondary maxima, right? Suppose that first secondary maxima occurs at a point where path difference is 3 lambda by 2, okay? So you write first secondary maxima occurs at a point where path difference is 3 lambda by 2, okay? Not lambda by 2, just opposite of interference, because you know first minima occurs when the path difference is what? This path difference is lambda. So if lambda by 2 path difference, yani ki it means between this central fringe and first minima. How is it possible? Already central fringe is there. After that, how first secondary maxima is formed? This is not the position of first secondary maxima lambda by 2. At first minima is formed at the position lambda, then second minima is formed 2 lambda. Between this first minima and second minima only first central maxima is formed, okay? And so for this reason we are taking here 3 lambda by 2, not lambda by 2. At lambda by 2, not secondary maxima is formed, right? So to prove this one, this A sine theta equal to 3 lambda by 2, this is the condition for first secondary maxima. How? To prove this one, let us suppose that this slit AB is divided into 3 equal parts, right? So this is AB slit, AB, and it is divided into first 1, 2 and 3 equal parts. Suppose there are 9 point sources are there. So 1, 2, 3, then 6 and then 9. Now at point P, suppose rays reaches at point P, okay? Now from the first 2 parts, okay, in every part difference is how much? If part difference between A and B is 3 lambda by 2, so between this A and this point C, this point D is again lambda by 2. Between this and this is again lambda by 2, and here is again lambda by 2, right now? So from the first 2 parts AC and CD, the part difference between any 2 corresponding points 1 and 3, part difference between 1 and 3 is lambda by 2. Again 2 and 4, part difference is lambda by 2. Then again this 3 and then 5. So the first 2 parts, these 2 from 1 to 6, they are cancel each other. They form destructive interference. Only lambda by 2, this 1/3 part of the light reaches at point P and forms maximum intensity at that point, but the brightness of that intensity is minimum because only 1/3 part of the light reaches at point P, and hence first secondary maxima is formed at this point P, right? So this is the condition for first secondary maxima. Again second secondary maxima is formed at 5 lambda by 2, right? To prove this one, the slit is divided into 5 equal parts, Okay, so from the first four parts, the rays reaches at the point P and cancel each other. They form destructive interference lambda by 2, lambda by 2. Only 1/5 part reaches at point P, and hence again intensity decreases. First secondary maxima, second secondary maxima, intensity again decreases. Only 1/5 part of the light reaches at point P, and in this position second secondary maxima is formed. So difference A sin theta is equal to twice n plus 1 lambda by 2, right? This is the condition for secondary maxima where n equal to 1 to 3, right? When n is 1, then A sin theta is 3 lambda by 2. When n is 2, then A sin theta is 5 lambda by 2. So first secondary maxima, second secondary maxima is formed. And when theta is very, very small, then A sin theta tends to theta. So in this way, theta equal to twice n plus 1 lambda by 2 by A. This is the position of secondary maxima, angular position, right? This one is angular position. Of secondary maxima, okay? So in this way, we find the condition for maxima and minima. First secondary maxima is formed at this point. This one is lambda. Second arc finishes at 2 lambda. This one is again lambda. And this one is again 2 lambda. And between these 2 lambda, this 3 lambda by 2, here first secondary maxima is formed. Here again both sides of this first secondary maxima is formed. Then again next secondary maxima, okay, at 5 lambda by 2 is formed. In this way intensity pattern is formed on the screen. Okay, take a screenshot of this one. Then next we will discuss intensity distribution of diffraction pattern. So now intensity distribution curve of this diffraction pattern. Intensity distribution curve. What type of intensity distribution curve is formed in case of diffraction pattern? You know, angular position for minima is what? Condition for minima is A sin theta equal to n lambda. When theta is small, then angular position, this theta becomes n lambda by A. This is the position for minima. Then again for secondary maxima, A sin theta equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 2, right now. So when theta is small, this theta becomes twice n plus 1 lambda by 2a. So using this one, we are going to draw intensity distribution curve, right? This side is the intensity of maxima and minima, and this side is x-axis is angular position theta. Okay, so you know that when theta is 0, part difference 0, at the center of the screen theta is 0 and maximum intensity is formed. Then first minima is formed when theta is n is 1 lambda by a, and it means at this position lambda by a on both sides of the screen first minima is formed. Then second minima 3 lambda by a, right now, both sides of the screen 3 lambda by a, and between these two minima this 5 lambda by a first secondary maxima, sorry 3 lambda by a na, okay, here 5 lambda by a second secondary maxima. In this way you find that the diffraction pattern is like this one. Okay, central maxima at theta equal to 0, then first minima at lambda a by a when theta is, then again at 3 lambda by a second minima, and okay, something is wrong na, I think this lambda by a, okay, then 2 lambda by a, na, right here 2 lambda by a. Okay, second minima is formed at 2 lambda by a, and first secondary maxima is formed at 3 lambda by 2a. Okay, just correct it. So here you draw like this one, again like this one. Okay, this is secondary maxima at 3 lambda by 2a, 5 lambda by 2a. These are position of secondary maxima. Secondary maxima. This side also. Okay, this one is 2 lambda. Okay, wait. Here is this one. This one. So here is the 3 lambda by 2a, then 2 lambda by a, then again here 5 lambda by 2a. In this way you draw. These two are again secondary maxima. This is first secondary maxima, this one is second secondary maxima, and this one is first minima, second minima, and this one is central maxima. So in this way you find that the intensity of secondary maxima goes on in decreasing order. Central maxima has maximum intensity, then again first secondary maxima has minimum intensity less than that of central maxima, then again second secondary maxima again has decreasing intensity. So this is intensity distribution curve for diffraction pattern. Again, what is the width of central maxima? It means central maxima is up to which region? This is the width of central maxima, right? So width of central maxima, right? To which angular position central maxima is formed. So this is the width of central maxima. It means this one is the angle theta, and again from this with angle theta. So 2 theta is the width of central maxima, and this is equal to lambda by a. Use this formula when you solve numericals. Okay, 2 theta equal to, sorry, theta is lambda by a, na? Theta is lambda by, so 2 theta is 2 lambda by a. This is the width of central maxima. Okay, just take a screenshot of this one. Then we will move to the next little bit part of this diffraction is left, that is linear width of central maxima. Okay, linear width of central maxima. This one is central maxima. So what is the linear width of this one? This is linear width. Okay, this one is angular width, and this straight line from both sides of the screen up to which region central maxima is there. This one is linear width, and this linear width of central maxima is given by beta naught equal to d. D is the distance of the source and screen, right? Capital D, and this d into 2 theta, it means here arc and this radius formula is used. So it becomes, just you remember this formula, 2 lambda capital D by small a. This is the linear width of central maxima. And now linear width of secondary maxima. Then next secondary maxima is formed up to which region? First secondary maxima. Up to which region? Second secondary maxima. This is linear width of secondary maxima. It is given by beta equal to lambda capital D by small a. Now you find that this width of central maxima is twice that of width of this secondary maxima. Beta naught is equal to twice beta. So you must remember this sentence. It may ask in 1 marks question that width of central maxima is twice that width of secondary maxima. Okay, so note down all these things. You just remember the diffraction pattern, interference pattern. Okay, diffraction pattern, maxima, central maxima, then secondary maxima of decreasing intensity on both sides of the screen. And in case of interference pattern, all maxima are of same intensity. Okay, so you must remember the graph of intensity distribution pattern for interference and diffraction. Okay, just take a screenshot of this one. So with this, diffraction part is over. Hope you understood all these things, diffraction types, diffraction at a single slit, everything. Okay students, up to then Please keep revising and stay tuned with this channel. Thank you.